Hello, Final Fantasy Randomizer. My name is Hebbinks, and I am joined tonight by the lovely X10 Power, and we are bringing you Final Fantasy Randomizer Cross Mystic Quest Randomizer. So we are running some Archipelago showcases tonight. X10, how you doing, man?
I'm going good as came 2,000 from the past for this event.
Oh, very nice. So tonight we have our two teams up. We have Flip Heel joined by Ike here, and we have Dark Moon joined by Shadow Nail Master. These are the two teams that will be showing on stream. Both of these teams will be playing in a cooperative setting. So essentially, how it works is the Final Fantasy 1 and Mystic Quest seeds are the same between the both teams, but they are connected via Archipelago. So some of the items are shuffled between both of the games, and both of the teams have to basically keep up the communication and help each other out to reach the finish line. 10, would you like to go over some of the settings that we'll be having for the Final Fantasy 1 seed tonight?
So it's mostly a normal Final Fantasy randomizer. The only forced thing is they are forced two ninjas from the start, and they can choose two random party members. And there are three wizards that are either black, white, or red mage that they can switch to at any opportunity once they come across them.
Very nice. For the Mystic Quest side of the house, pretty standard seed with a bit of a twist this month. So we are doing Shattered Sky Coin with 24 shards that our runners will have to find before they can get to the end. They will have the shortcut turned on to Dune Castle, and all the enemies' attacks are safe shuffled. However, the big twist this month is that dungeons are shuffled. So towns are fine. Dungeon entrances will lead it to loop to other dungeons. So things will start to get convoluted very quickly for our runners. Hopefully RNG is in their favor and they won't get too lost. But these kind of seeds that we're taking notes really comes in handy, because even getting a hint from Archipelago might tell you, hey, something's in Pyramid Floor 2, but where is Pyramid Floor 2? Mapping out these dungeons is going to be key for these for victory tonight. And it
And
looks
the
like our
runners are
runner's already
off.
off. Ooh, Shadow got the ninja sprite, and it looks like Flip Heel decided to go with Link.
And in Final Fantasy, you got people doing their basic shopping, checking the spells, the swords, see what they can get. And it looks like they got a razor to choose from. Oh no, they're making a new party. They must have something good in the shops.
That's, I mean, it's a legitimate strategy this early in the game. If you find something that'll help carry your team and you just want to go ahead and restart right at the beginning, I don't see why not. Both of our Mystic Quest runners have found a giant, well, Flip Hills find a giant's axe. Shadow Nail Master will be right behind them very shortly with their giant's axe from the cure chest. Very powerful weapon to start off with. Not the most accurate, but in raw numbers, it will get some damage downfield real quick. And both of our runners also starting out with Kaylee, a great party member to start with. We are doing quest leveling, I believe. Double check my notes here.
And on the Final Fantasy side, I'm seeing them buying heal magic and fire magic for the wizards on Ike. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, please correct me. And we already have Dark Moon fighting Garland in the Silent Chaos.
Meanwhile, both of our Mystic Quest runners have, looks like, 2 coins open in them very early on. So the overworld's going to be looking relatively the same, but as soon as they enter the dungeons, things will start getting loopy really quick as soon as they go through those first doors. Sand coin and river coin are on the table, so 3/4 of the world are open to our runners right now, and that's going to give them a lot of options for exploration. Hopefully this will help out their Final Fantasy 1 counterparts for finding items that might be locked in their seeds.
You know, I just realized this. Dark Moon sprites are TMNT characters.
He does
I'm
love
so
his
fascinated
Teenage Mutant
now.
Ninja Turtle sprites.
And
Looks
now
like
we have
Iker.
Iker.
Looks like we have relatively tame battlegrounds to start out with. So like you were saying, Iker with Final Fantasy 1 X10. Sorry about that.
He was defeating Garland. He got his 1,000 in the AP item that he went to his partner.
Yep. So for anybody joining us for the first time, the text that you see in between each of the seeds here is the archipelago tracker for our teams. So when someone on a team finds something, so let's say Flip Heel finds an item, you'll see that pop up in the text for their tracker right there, and it'll tell you for whose game they found an item for. Sometimes they'll find an item for themselves. However, if Flip Heel finds an item for Ikir, it'll say that Flip Heel found X and sent it to Ikir. So in this case, Flip Heel found the loot, he sent it over to Ikir, and then Ikir is now able to use the loot. Giant tree at the start here.
Oof.
Thankfully, we've turned on the setting to restrict the formations by regions. So if they run into enemy formations, like let's say giant tree got shuffled in here, right? Even though it's a giant tree floor, they're still only going to be forest or region enemies. So those black oozes right there are not actually black oozes. They're going to be green slimes. So a little bit of the panic inducing this is taken out of here for safety reasons. Don't want anybody to get hard stuck too early and have to fight their way through tree at level 4. That would be a little bit too mean, I feel. So Flip Heel does have a door locked to him. He doesn't have a sword, so he won't be able to get through that door on the right. However, making quick work of these slimes here, pretty benign. The skeletons were pretty nasty, but he does have a plethora of doors to choose from. Meanwhile, Shadow making his way through the overworld here. I think he's about run out of options for everything that he can look through in Foresta. So gonna go ahead and jump into into Bone Dungeon, which is just Lava Dome. Bottom chest. So literally a 1-room bone dungeon.
I guess they can have a bone to pick up that dungeon then.
Already with the puns.
I had to start somewhere. Hey,
yeah,
I almost made 5 minutes.
Almost. So yeah, some of our dungeons will be shuffled to be, I mean, they can be RNG shuffled to be just 1 room. Some will be a nexus of doors. So if our runners stumble into Ice Pyramid Floor 1 or Lava Dome Floor 1, there are a multitude of doors, and there's just an endless number, it feels like, of possibilities for our runners to get stuck or loop into themselves. Sometimes the RNG, the logic just loops them into each other, and you have to kind of take a double take, like, what's happening? Oh, Flip Heel checking bottom of of Doom Castle, seeing if there's anything on the shifting sand floor. Could be a goodie here. Meanwhile, Shadow making his way to the focus tower. Let's see if he takes Aquaria or Fireberg. Going to Aquaria.
So to give you a quick update from the Final Fantasy side, they defeated both of the parts. They're just giving out basically free gold. Let's say, giving out free gold to pirate, that's pretty wealthy of them.
Yeah, not to mention the money that's been sent over to their companion, sent over by their companions. It looks like Flip Heel dropped a care package of about 45,000 gold to Ike here. So nothing to scoff at there. Definitely getting him set on early game shopping.
That's possibly even mid game shopping even.
Mm-hmm.
If man crazy had to go with the spells.
Flip Heel now making his way into Focus Tower. Let's see if he takes River Coin instead of Sand Coin. Nope. Both of our runners run into Aquaria. Getting beat up by some elves. Joined by our lovely chat commentary here. While him mentioning that, yeah, with 45k, the Final Fantasy Ike here is pretty set for money. Ooh. Mega Grenades and Phoebe. And it looks like they've already, Flip Heel's at least already completed a quest to level up Phoebe. So the way the quest system works, chat, for you, if you're not familiar, our runners will have a set of 4 quests to complete per companion. And our companions will level up incrementally based on those quests complete. All of them starting at level 7 and then jumping up 7 to 8 levels per quest complete, and then gaining access to spells based on those levels. Mega Grenades are going to be a great source of consistent damage, and Mobius Crest is on the table.
Though the top part of March Cave only has Post-Scent or and the Chime. Good to see early on.
Now, you might see in the Archipelago dialogue there that it'll say that a Final Fantasy 1 runner sent over projectile refill. However, on the Mystic Quest runner's side, you might see cure potions pop up. The way that works is if you have 99 projectiles, the game will then correct and say, oh, you're full on projectiles, we'll give you cure potions instead. Bit of a coding thing for when you don't have bombs or other things like that, and that's just carried over so you don't get a big fat nothing when someone sends you something.
Good to know.
Is
I did not know that.
Is Bat Destruction turned on for our Final Fantasy 1 seeds tonight?
Well, sooner or later we'll have to go into Earth Cavern, so one way to find out. Gotta have some suspense.
Wildham confirming that yes, Bat Destruction is turned on, so we won't get blocked by bats too soon. Flip Hill nearing the top of Volcano here. Now, the top of Volcano is always going to be an exit. It's coded to basically always take you to the overworld. So that's essentially the end of the dungeon for Flip Hill here, capping off the top here. Unless he missed a door going somewhere else, that's all of Wintry Cave. Shadow, meanwhile, grinding out some battlegrounds, trying to get as many items as they can before they start doing their dungeon dives, and trying to get some XP for Ben as well.
And it looks like Dark Moon is grabbing some AP items throughout March Cave again. So far, they found 1,800 gold altogether for themselves. And it's not popping up for me. Oh, and no. Oh, and they find cabin as well. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. I'm just
some
gonna
of
read.
It's okay. Now, some of you might have noticed that in that giant tree, you saw a black bird just kind of flapping their wings there. The way that the region-specific sprites work for the overworld is basically it forces the enemy types to be the same for the Aquaria region. However, because the palettes are locked to the dungeons, instead of those being oozes, they're birds, but they have the black oozes color palette. So that's why the bird will be black. You'll see some interestingly colored enemy overworld sprites. It's going to be very cool. Some of them will look the same, like gold skeletons, black oozes. They kind of share the same enemy type with Windia, so nothing really out of line there. But you'll see some really cool color combinations. I kind of wish we could shuffle those in the future.
It's a
Looks
hint.
like maybe. I don't know. I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm just a runner, not a dev.
Hey, I'm saying hint. This is something we want.
I don't know how complex that would be. Looks like one
Neither
of
do
our
I.
runners has hinted for Canal. So it looks like Dark Moon hinted for Canal, and it is in Sky Palace. So Dark Moon will need to find a way to Sky Palace to get that Canal. Looks like he's grinding in the meantime, hoping that Shadow can find something.
Can I talk about the POP, the Principle of Power? Basically, there's a tiny region at the top by Provoca where you can walk across 2 tiles and encounter a bunch of harder enemies from later on in the game. Because it's kind of done in quadrants, and it kind of overlaps a tiny bit, so you can fight harder enemies, but for much more experience and gold.
Yeah. Looks like Flip Heel's already made their way to Fireberg. Meanwhile, Shadow either doubling back, making sure they didn't miss anything, or forgetting that they have the River Coin. Could cost them a little bit of time here, but that is also kind of the hazard of running Dungeon Shuffle, because the dungeon floors are shuffled up the way they are. Sometimes you second guess yourself. It's like, did I miss something? Did I not grab something that I could have? Shadow remembering he had bombs, though. He will be able to proceed through this floor of Bone Dungeon and move on to make other checks. More money, not a ton, but every little bit helps. And being able to get through the correct way of this Nexus of Bone dungeon is nice. That's a vanilla room placement right there. Rather kind. Yeah, if you come in the back way, you can't blow up those teeth on those statues. So getting in the correct orientation of that floor is key. Shadow finds a claw though, so that is that is dungeon floor progression there, and Sun Coin. Socket chiming in with the "Is this even randomized.exe?" Who knows? Ooh.
But is it a plan though? And we just don't know it?
No, this is not a plando. For anybody curious, but yeah, Claw is huge. The only thing that Shadow's missing now for most of his dungeon exploration is going to be the sword. Flipheal braving Wyvern's lair. I don't think he's going to take on Wyvern proper, though. That's going to be a bit. That'd be a bit of a hairy encounter. So Shadow could double back to a couple locations in Quaria that I saw, or they could take off for Fireburg. Now, or just go to Windia. The sky's the limit for them if they can figure out which door they use to get in and out of Giant Tree here. Okay, Shadow found the exit.
Oof. Imagine barking up the wrong tree.
Yep. Meanwhile, Flipheal has been exhausting their options in Fireburg, finding some goodies, but nothing for progression for Ikir, it looks like. Looks like Shadow's debating. Ultimately deciding to go to Fireburg as well. Flipheal finds a tree wither. Meanwhile, Ikir doing some shopping with that cash that was sent over.
This time based on gold bracelets for everyone, the normal.
So would you care to explain the plus and minus stats for anybody who might be tuning in for the first time for the Final Fantasy 1 randomizer?
I might need you to back me up, but basically, if they're a plus, there are enhanced versions of that same weapon, so it has more attack or more defense depending on what it is, and if it's a minus, it's weakened. So 1 be just a tiny boost, or 9 be like a major boost. From -1 to -9 as well.
Looks like Shadow's traded up for Ruben, who seems to be at a pretty decent level, level 23. Oh, I am sorry, chat. So when I mentioned quest leveling earlier, I was mistaken. This is standard quest leveling, not quest extended. So essentially, our partners will level up when you meet their vanilla objectives. So Ruben is starting off at level 23 because that's how he starts off in vanilla. So keeping things pretty simple here. Canoe is in Ice Pyramid 3rd floor. So now our Mystic Quest runners just need to find out where Ice Pyramid shuffled into.
Well, they have access to almost every dungeon, if you think of it.
Yep, well, Shadow does. Flipheal hasn't found their Sun Coin yet. They haven't doubled back to level 4. So this could give Shadow the advantage here.
Yeah, because in order to get to the airship, you have to get the canoe. Let me think this one through. You need the canoe to get to Ice Cavern. Let's just go with vanilla here to get the photo to get the airship.
Yep. And by the way, chat, you are not your game is not glitching out. Your feed's not messed up. Ruben did indeed cast Blizzard. We have extended spellbook turned on, which gives our partners a couple more sensible spells to their arsenal that they probably should have had in vanilla, but just didn't. So in this case, Ruben has access to Blizzard because if you're going to be fighting lava monsters for a living, you might as well have some ice magic to fend them off with. Nothing too extreme. It doesn't overpower them. Obviously, most of the black magic spells besides Arrow are pretty mid to begin with. So this just kind of adds a little extra flavor.
And that I could make a dive into, speaking of lava enemy, to Mount Gorg. Oh.
Indeed. Meanwhile, Shadow deciding to knock out Jin, hoping that Aaron is behind this door here so he can go ahead and level up Ruben. If he doesn't, if he does level up Ruben, this will give him a partner with White, which could greatly expedite his deeper dives into some of the other dungeons. It is going to be imperative that they are able to get through these dungeons relatively quickly to make these dives for their Final Fantasy 1 partners. Because even if you do a hint in, like we found out, Canoe is on 3rd floor of Pyramid. Where is 3rd floor of Pyramid? That's going to be the hard part for Mystic Quest runners tonight. Oh man, you love to see it when Lava Dome shuffles into an ice location. Ooh, okay. So Jin leading straight to Medusa. We'll see if Shadow decides to take on the back-to-back mini boss gauntlet. He's got seeds. He could go ahead and take this on. Both of our Mystic Quest runners diving into the mini bosses. Meanwhile, Ikir.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just picked up the heal book, the multi-key, and the Thunder Rock for foot heal.
Yeah, finding a veritable treasure trove. It looks like Flip Heel has found the canoe. So Ice Pyramid Floor 3 is in Fireberg somewhere. Shadow just needs to find it. There are a few other doors that could check here in the mine location. Let's hope it's behind one of those. But having that lead with the canoe is going to be huge.
He also just found a filter that gives Iker airship access.
Yep, so unfortunately Dark Moon still stuck grinding while Ikir is just cruising through finding items galore.
I know the feeling.
Yep. Now, thankfully, for better or worse, some of these items are not going to be a huge boon to Flip Heel. So Thunder Rock is essentially kind of moot at this point because we do not need to save Captain Mac to get to Doom Castle. However, Mac's ship could have some goodies for our Final Fantasy 1 runners. For this month's seed in particular, we are doing a non-release command seed. So what that means is even though, you know, one of our runners might finish their game, they will not automatically release all the items locked to their seed for their partners. So this is where communication is really, really going to come in for these teams and making sure both of our runners are in go mode before they go ahead and take off to fight their final bosses, respectively.
So I don't want to go back onto the Thunder Rock. They can also use that to get to Spencer's Cave for 2 to 3 checks as well.
Very true.
If they can't find the Lake Water.
Yeah, let's hope they don't have to full clear everything. That would be a little mean, Joker. But yeah, they just making sure they're set on both sides of things. What level is Dark Moon at this point? He must be getting pretty beefy grinding out that peninsula.
I'll try to catch a level next time I'm seeing it pop up.
Joker, I did not roll the seeds. I just picked the settings for this month for Mystic Quest. Shadow finding an Aegis Shield and a very easy kill here with Rex. This can be over in one shot, just a white spell. Gearing up anyways. I don't know if Shadow is familiar with the life kill with your partners. Essentially what how it works is so long as you are higher level than Flamer's Rex, which is level 8. If you are higher than level 8, you cast life and insta kill. 880, done. Easy as that. What nightmare seeds from me? Never. Never.
Dark Moon can menu so fast.
Yeah, Dark Moon is definitely one of the more seasoned FFR runners I've seen. Ooh, Catclaw. So you might see on the AP feeds there that the item finds are popping up a little bit before the streams. That's just because of stream delay chat. So like a 5 to 6 second spoiler, if you would. But it does give us eyes on some things that we can use to see who's getting what. And I think unfortunately Shadow's barking up the wrong tree to find Dark Moon's canoe here.
Well, that's not a tree, that's a volcano.
True. Oh man, we got to see the useless room shuffled in. I love seeing that room. It's absolutely useless. It has no enemy encounters, and it has no no chest. The only thing it's good for now is thanks to Wild Ham programming it in. If you have extended quest turns on, you can have a quest to visit the useless room, in which you will gain a level for one of your partners.
You know how many times I walk into that empty room in Wobbledome? Every single time.
I've had to program it out of my brain, and because of that, sometimes when I have quest extended turned on, I like don't check it at all. Ooh, shadow diving headlong into Hydra here. This could be beneficial. If they get Wake Water, they can get easy access between Aquaria and Fireberg. It's not necessarily required, though. I didn't see a red chest behind Hydra. So if anything, this is costing Dark Moon some time, opting to take on this rather difficult boss fight. Hydra is nothing to scoff at, especially at these levels, especially with the ability to confuse Ruben. Ruben is super dangerous if left to his own devices while confused. Did we find out what level Dark Moon's party was at this point?
He menus too fast. I've been trying. I'm also trying to pay attention to the other 3 screens at the same time, too.
Thank you, chat. It looks like he's about level 19 now. Meanwhile, Ikir is... what level? About level 9.
The 9.
So, while being BK'd, Dark Moon has basically covered double the leveling ground. Shadow almost through Hydra here, though. This is going to be, like I said, a tough fight, especially at these levels. Good crit out of Ruben here. Meanwhile, Flipeel making their way through this lava dome floor. This room has a good amount of checks. Doesn't look like any red checks, though, that I can see. A couple brown boxes. There's 2 more up here in the left-hand corner that you cannot peek, unfortunately, unless you walk in through the top entrance, and I didn't get to see when they walked in.
I think Flipeel just realized that there was chests up there and going back up for them.
Oh, Ruben built that dragon a snowman. I was about to say, Shadow is flirting with disaster, leaving Ruben confused like that. Looks like he broke out of it, though. Thank goodness. 2 brown boxes. A lot of misses. That's the downside to axes, chat, is axes are powerful but not accurate. And it looks like Hydra is down again. Another crystal, but no other rewards for taking on that boss. Meanwhile, Flipeel is at the top of Pazuzu's tower. Will not be able to access that left staircase there until they get Dragon Claw. Still do not have any claws on Flipeel's side. We know that Cat Claw was in Bone Dungeon B2, and Charm Claw was also locked behind Foresta. So no claws until he doubles back, unless Dragon Claw is found in Ikir's world.
And so far, nothing interesting has been found recently between either Ikir or Dark Moon. Ikir just cleared out the waterfall and talked to the Gorm inside. I imagine now he's gonna probably head towards Ice Cavern? Or Earth Cavern. I was close. Oh. Almost. Talking to the old man first to get a Silver Steel plus free.
Oh, and Flipeel lucks into their Dragon Claw, so they do not need to go back to Foresta at all. Very good find for Flipeel. So the way the equipment works for Mystic Quest, chat, is as soon as you get the highest tier of equipment, it will overwrite the low tiers for you. So let's say, for instance, Flipeel finds their Cat Claw later. All they'll have to do is swap off their weapon, swap back, and they'll still have the Dragon Claw equipped.
Alright, Ikea is going for Mount Gulig again. Let's see what we can find at the bottom of this volcano.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Shadow getting looks like a little antsy. I've seen some indecision when it comes to which doors that they should enter here. I think they're starting to get starting to feel a little bit of the pressure of holding up Dark Moon here, knowing that there's a key item in his world, but unable to find where it is. Again, this is some of the stress that Dungeon Shuffle can introduce to you if you're running an AP seed.
So I do
Mr.
have to
Krabs
ask.
here. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. All right. How do you like illustrate your dungeon mapping? Like, do you do like a spiderweb concept, or do you kind of like chart it?
I'll be completely honest. When I do Dungeon Shuffle, I will just basically open up a Notepad++ and note what the overworld location is, and then the floors and their connecting doors with shorthand names I've come up with, if that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm old school. I'll get a piece of paper out. I'll draw a circle. I'll make like the hub. See what goes off of that. I'll use another page for the next hub. It gives it more that authentic map feeling for me.
Oh no, was I truly mean? I might have been a little extra mean to our Mystic Quest runners this month, chat. 1 second.
Don't worry, they're tough. They can take it.
Yeah,
I've done-
I think I might have shuffled resistances. I did. Whoops. So on top of shuffling the dungeon floors, chat, our enemies are going to have their resistances and their weaknesses shuffled. So Mr. Krabs there didn't take extra damage from axes because the axe element has been shifted to another element. It could be fire, it could be water, it could be wind, it could be bombs.
It could be
anything on the resistance. Yeah, it could be anything on the resistance table. We won't know until our runners open up and check their game info screen to see what those resistances are. Dark King is going to be the big one for our runners, though. He's normally only neutral to fire, and axe, and the weapon elements. So if our runners get flare and his fire resistance is rolled into another element, that can make flare a moot point here, making white the go-to item to kill Dark King this seed potentially.
So I did see IQ pick up his forehammer. There's the second tier thunder spell to all enemies when you use it as an item. Or first tier, I can't remember now.
I see some movement on Dark Moon's side of the screen here. Do you think he's found something, or do you think he's guessing he's about to find something?
I'm guessing he's about to find something.
Yeah, I think Shadow's in the right spot. You don't get stuck behind that door unless it is shuffled into another position in the dungeon. So, for instance, what we saw there, chat, is Shadow got placed behind a locked door in Ice Pyramid. And usually when situations like that happen, let's say with Bone Dungeon, with Ice Pyramid, that doesn't happen logically unless it is in that location. Shadow missing a door on the left-hand side, though it might not be necessary. This is the third floor. Canal is here. But if he goes back to Pazuzu's tower, there's a jump on the left-hand side with a staircase that he can go check for another room. Could be key for the run here. We'll find out.
Now, is it possible to randomize the dungeons in Final Fantasy like they are in Mystic Quest at the moment?
That one I don't know, and maybe someone in our lovely chat who may delve into some of the coding stuff. So we got a yup from Socket. So it is possible to shuffle the dungeon floors. Ah, yes. Shadow has found the floor 6 jump. And forgot that there's 2 chests he could check in the bottom left of the third floor. So close. He's so close. Chat will some of that positive energy to Shadow. So Team Shadow Moon can start making their progress. Meanwhile, Flip Heel taking on Medusa here.
Which at level 15 is a very comfortable fight.
Yeah, pretty cozy. Shadow doubling back now. I think they checked their notes, saw Ice Pyramid 3rd floor, and was like, wait, that's where I need to go, potentially.
And we get to see what's in the eye spot coming up in Ika's side.
Shadow has not accidentally, but Shadow's pieced out of the location that is BKing Dark Moon here. You hate to see it, but that is unfortunately what happens. As these seeds go on, you might forget where checks are or what items you might be locking behind your locations. Always good to keep up that communication. Meanwhile, Flip Heel checking Rope Bridge here. Doesn't look like Flip Heel's found their Sun Coin yet. So I think Sun Coin was in Forza. Is that right?
Yes, it was in the Forza region. I believe it was behind a bomb check.
Giant Tree 5th floor, according to our trackers. Thank you so much. Shout outs to Nutmeg and Socket. Again, on the tracking crew, keeping us honest over here. So yeah, I mentioned earlier there was no reason to go back to Forest. I lied. There is a reason, and that is the Sun Coin. Unless Flip Heel just decides to take the back door through the Hermit's house in Fireburg. That is another option.
No, I hope Flip Heel isn't doing me and forget that that whole region exists sometimes.
Hopefully not.
I've done it too many times.
So since you're more familiar with Final Fantasy 1, Rando, how much of a lead would you say that Ikir now has over Dark Moon? Obviously, Dark has been keeping up in the power leveling territory. But in terms of just checks and exploration, how far ahead would you say he is?
I say Ikir easily has the lead, but I do see if Dark Moon does get the canal and the canoe so he can access new parts of the map, I think he can go through places faster and get things done faster. That might give him a tiny bit of a chance to catch up, but I'm saying it's low.
How's their equipment looking for their exploration in that regard? Will they need to pick up anything to power up, or are they pretty set with the loadout that they have?
I think IQ is pretty rolled up with what he has. I couldn't catch all the weapons and armor details, but I think they're both relatively comfortable with what they have. And I think with Dark Moon having that level advantage, it's gonna make it the difference of making him able to get through stuff with some of his weaker equipment. He does have the gold bracelets as well for defense. It's really could be a coin flip.
Yep. Shadow has the possibility to stumble on Canoe. We do know that they have accidentally faded the canal check, but Canoe could still be the lifeline that Dark Moon needs to get back into the game here. Meanwhile, Flip Hill looks like they're wrapping up their exploration of Fireburg. Might double back to Foresta now to see where they could check where they could not check earlier. Or, yep, looks like they're running straight to Windia. Or not. You can make me a liar. There was an AP item hidden behind the vendor. 500 GP, pretty pricey. Let's see what it buys them.
It's a potion. That's my guess.
Looks like they just sent money over.
Well, 500 to 5,000, 450. I think that's a pretty good deal.
Meanwhile, Shadow has found the slab for Dark Moon. Nothing great yet, but that is something. And that is the soft spell, if I'm not mistaken, or is that just is soft an item in FF1, or is it just the spell?
It's just in the item.
Oh, it's
No, it's
both.
both. It's both.
Okay.
I need to replay again. Just get myself more familiar with it again. Been a while for me. Sure, I'll take one AP item for your finest quality.
Yeah, it looks like Flip Hill is deciding to go back to Forest, maybe not realizing they have the combo to take the Hermit backdoor into Windia, or just thinking they might find some other goodies behind the checks that they couldn't make before. Again, having Dragon Claw and bombs now being able to go through here. Neither of our Mystic Quest runners have a sword, so even if they come across some Ice Pyramid floors, like the first floor, they can't dive them yet because they can't get in the door. And no major firepower either. I have not seen any wizard spells outside of Thunder picked up by our Mystic Quest runners tonight. Thunder's nothing to write home about. Flip finds their Charm Claw, and there's the Sun Coin for Flip. Meanwhile, Shadow making their way through the Lava Dome now, still confused on where Dark Moon's canal could be. Let's hope they dip back into that Volcano Overworld title to find it. Ooh, Ghidra hitting hard. Looks like some instant death moves are on the table.
Luckily, there was a save, and I would know about that myself. Defeating Ghidra only gives you access to one chest. Though, Dark Moon is power leveling only one of his characters to make them a real beast to deal with. Or a real ninja.
I think they might be potentially looking to swap out the black and white mage later on with some other party members, but we'll see.
I do have a question. Oh.
Katana +4 was found, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah, what's your question?
Okay. The wizards that you pick up, let's determine their level in Final Fantasy in the randomizer.
That is a great question that unfortunately I do not know the answer to.
Chat, it goes to you.
But Shadow is going back into P Tower here on the volcano tile. Here's hoping he explores that bottom left section of Ice Pyramid 3. Yeah, take a left. There we go. We may finally save Dark Moon from the peninsula. And there it is. There's a canoe.
No, we haven't seen Crescent Lake yet tonight, have we? Or I've missed it completely.
If it hasn't been marked off by one of our lovely trackers here, then we have not found it tonight. Flip Hill making their way through the Alive Forest. Deforesting their way to some treasure chests here. Shadow, I think, breathing a sigh of relief now that Dark Moon has been freed from BK. Making their way over to Windia now. I'm sad Exit hasn't been found yet.
But they bought in Final Fantasy the first off.
That's mean. I wish I could walk up to a store and just buy Exit. Be like, yeah, no, 200 gold. Give me the best spell in the game. Gimme.
You set yourself up for that one, though.
Yeah, true. Just like I've mixed out my volcanoes. The last last one of these I commented on. I messed up Mountain Gold. That was hinted by our trackers and even mentioned in their verbiage. They said Mountain Gold, and I just saw Volcano, and I was like, oh man, this item's in the Volcano in Mystic Quest.
Same difference. Just add
Oh,
a few
man,
extra
let's-
words.
Let's see what's in Giant Tree tonight. Shadow and Flip Hill are now basically lined up with each other. I think they're basically check for check on each other. So they're basically in alignment. It's going to come down to whether or not Dark Moon can get lucky enough to get everything that both of their teams need with having this, what would you say, about 20-minute BK in Peninsula
25?
Power? 25 minute.
Yeah,
Crazier things have happened, though.
I think that level difference could make a good chunk of time defeating the bosses and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything spectacular being sent over in terms of AP items from these checks that Ikir is making. So nothing huge found yet. Realistically, our Mystic Quest runners really don't need that much more in terms of items for Go mode. What they need is firepower.
They could use some flair.
Yeah, everybody could use a little bit of flair in their life.
And I want to admit, I did the jazz hands with it as well.
Oh, and I am mistaken again, chat. I saw Shattered Sky Coin quantity on the flag set, and I was like, oh, Shattered Sky Coin. No, Sky Coin mode is set to standard. So that Sky Coin could be anywhere. It could literally be in any box anywhere. And, yeah. But Doom Castle Shortcut is turned on, so I'm waiting to see a hint for Sky Coin. Hint for Sky Coin would be the big brain play from both of our runners here on the Mystic Quest side of the house. That would tell them where their go mode is, so they can then start strategizing around that.
Though at the same time, if they rush it and they beat the game, they still can't release the item, so they're better off looking at every single check almost too.
True, but at least knowing where your go mode is way better informationally. Speaking of information, sorry for a little bit of information overload that you're about to witness here, chat. This is the Lava Dome Nexus. Welcome. This is the first floor Lava Dome where some doors connect to each other and some doors connect to somewhere else entirely. Don't try to follow it. I can hardly do that. So good luck. You'll need it.
Well, it's only like 13 rooms.
Yes, but there is no big money or big prizes behind any of these enemy encounters. These are all Windia tier enemy encounters, and we are rocking a Reuben 1 in our party.
That actually might be one of the worst situations I've seen ever.
Yep, and beholders have had their bomb resistances shuffled, it looks like.
And I fought dual hand with a level 7 Tristram.
Yeah, that is pretty nasty. So, meanwhile, on the Final Fantasy 1 side of the house...
Well, we got some Batmans. Not Batman, Batman. Because we got IQ is going up through the Sky Fortress. While Dark Moon is going through Mount Gulag.
It looks like Flip Hill has found their Libra crest, so that could lead to some goodies there. Neither of our runners have found Wintry Cave first floor to level up Phoebe. However, a sword has just been found on Flip Hill's side of the room, so that does open up a lot of new checks. And there's Meteor. Looks like Max Ship is the place to be. Shadow's not too far behind, although not checking B2 of Max Ship, fading a lot of those goodies that Flip Hill just found. Ending up on the back half. I would do a safety save here, so here's what can happen. Well, no, he won't get stuck here. If you do this without having bombs, you could get stuck after you go across that shifting sand, because you cannot blow up the rib cages here from the back end. Thankfully, both of our runners have bombs, so that won't be too much of an issue. But it does appear that parts of Bone Dungeon are shuffled into Max Ship and the Lava Dome Nexus.
How many more dungeons can we tie into this?
I've seen a few. Just a handful. I hope you're taking notes, chat. And there's Hydra Door. Hydra Door could have something good hidden behind it, so it is imperative that you hit that switch. That could lead to Aaron. That could lead to Wintry Cave Floor 1. It could lead to any other dungeon room in the game.
For all we know, it could be the
Without-
base of giant tree.
Yep, and without exit, our runners are kind of stuck in here until they find their way back out. Yeah, we're getting to the later half of the run here now, chat. So you'll notice that our Mystic Quest runners are now going to start fading brown box checks. Usually the brown boxes will only have AP items of middling impact to our Final Fantasy runners. So things like gold or consumables that aren't going to be a huge detriment to not pick up. So finding red chests now is the name of the game. Although
Ooh.
the occasional brown chest will be picked up. What did we find?
Oh no, the Mentor has cremate. Like, did it normally? I've seen so many randomizers of Final Fantasy, I get all mixed up now.
Oh, you love to see it. Floor 1 of Pazuzu's tower has been shuffled into itself. You see that a lot with Dungeon Shuffle. The logic there is just a little too unstable to mix it in with a lot of other locations, because if it get mixed in with another location, it can just loop you and get you stuck. Shadow leaving the forest now, it looks like, but oh. Okay, if Shadow leaves the forest without checking B2 a max ship, they will be missing out on Meteor and a sword. This could be critical for them. Let's see if he doubles back. He does not. There are still two other opportunities to find a sword. Excalibur and the Knight's Sword are still on the table, but missing out on Meteor could be detrimental.
Now, I wonder if these runners know by now that enemies' weaknesses and strengths are switched around.
I haven't seen either of them open up the game info screen, so I honestly could not tell you.
Well, I think
they could just be brute forcing their way through the encounters.
Now, what are the chances of encountering War Mech before Triumph?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Isn't it like 1 in 6? It's 1 in 64. Okay, I was gonna say 128. I was doubling it, or dividing it.
Shadow doubling back to Aquaria. I wonder what he's going back to check. Could be Libra Temple. He does have the Libra crest now. It doesn't look like it. Still no sword, so he can't open up that door. Our steel sword that Flipio found could be the only sword available to our runners. I wonder what location got shuffled in the P Tower. I didn't see.
Maybe we could find out on Shadow's side?
Potentially. We also have not found Thunder Rock yet in Dark Moon's game. Ooh, Flare in Cage Temple. This could be huge. If Dark King's resistances have not shuffled to make him resistant to fire damage. Red chest in the Cage Temple. Chat, I want you to pay close attention. This is how you get through this floor. There's a hidden tunnel right here. So if you see a chest that's key to you, that's where you need to go. You need to walk down into the water, then take a right through that hidden wall, and that will take you to that chest.
I do want to make a note that IQ just turned level 20 when Dark Moon was been at level 20 about 20 minutes ago.
Oh, wow. And Ikea is taking on Tiamat. Doesn't look like they're having too much trouble, though. Meanwhile, Shadow's still refusing to go to P Tower. Now might be checking it. Let's see. We also haven't seen what's been mixed into Mount Gale.
Right, can't be better to music. Oh, Mount Gale is Mount Gale.
Yeah, Mount Gale is Mount Gale.
Oh, who knew?
Oh, and there is a red chest in the peekable chest. Meanwhile, Fliphill cleaning out the rest of Windia here. I don't think they have found anything else too amazing. Let's see what's in Grandma and Grandpa's basement.
Nothing really.
Oh, floor one ice pyramid is holding the Final Fantasy runner's rod. So that sword is now very, very important.
So now that we know that the exit book is in Dwarf Cave 9, it would be really good for the Final Fantasy runners to find out where the key is. Because they're going to need that to actually get into the Chaos line to defeat Chaos.
Meanwhile, Fliphill has found their Cupid locket, no longer going to be confused by enemies. Shadow opting to take on Dullahan. Again, with a Reuben 1, this is a very challenging fight. Now has Flare at their disposal, though. Let's hope that the fire resistance of Dullahan has been shuffled into something else so we can get the full damage of Flare on this fight. Neutral resistance has been rolled, so now Flare will be able to do the full damage that it needs to.
Oh, never mind. We found a key in Mount Gale West box. So, IQ can easily now get Fliphill their exit book.
Very nice. That is going to make the trek out of Mount Gale here infinitely faster for Fliphill.
That one?
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Dark Moon finding a bunch of AP items, but none of them are anything of worth for Shadow here. A lot of consumables. Dullahan on their last phase, though. We have found floor 2 of Wintry Cave. Close, but no cigar. And we find Bomb underneath Dullahan. Feels bad. I hate sometimes when you fight the mini bosses and you go through those struggles and it's just like, hey, here's a consumable. Here you go. It's a time sinking gamble, to say the least. I wonder if the runners floor 2 shuffled into floor 1. I wonder if the Mystic Quest runners realize that the resistances have been shuffled.
That's gonna be the first question when we do an interview.
Yes, for sure. I was like, did either of you check the game info screen? Because I don't think you did. I didn't see it. I could be wrong. No, I did see someone crack it open like once at the beginning. I can't remember who. But both of our runners about to get very excited here. Fliphill immediately exited as soon as he saw that floor. He's like, I'm going to go grab Phoebe now. Meanwhile, Ike here exploring the sunken temple here. Snacks. Mean snakes.
And look at the hand towards the mermaid fort.
Looks like Shadow also got a little excited about finding this floor and now weighing the options in their mind. Yep, they're running back to get Phoebe. Now their trek back will be slower because they do not have exit and Flip Heel. Now going in, finding the rod for Ike here. Again, that sword paying huge dividends. Let's hope Shadow finds her own sword. Again, Night Sword and Excalibur could be mixed into Dark Moon's game, so that could be something that they find later on. However, right now, missing that sword is going to be huge. Flip Heel now having access to a plethora of checks. And no Sky Coin yet.
So I'm taking a guess at this point that that sword is either in the Citadel of Trials or in Chaos Slime. For either one of those.
Here's hoping, because if not, Shadow will need to dive back into the Alive Forest. Ooh, life was just found for Flip Heel. That is huge. But if, yeah, like I was saying, Shadow will have to dive back into the Alive Forest and then go back on the Max ship, fall down, and check all the chests on floor 2 of Max ship, B2. Gaia armor, wow.
Oof. There we go.
Ike sending the care packages over. The only thing Flip Hill's really missing from their armor set is a helmet and a shield, which we know the Aegis shield was found in Bone Dungeon first floor. Ooh, Flip Hill accidentally overshoots the wall climbing puzzle. That is one of the downsides to the speed hack. If you're not comfortable with the movement on the speed hack, having double speed, doing some of these wall climbs can actually be detrimental since you'll fall down trying to make your way across some of these platforms and some of these traversal parts. Yeah, C is loaded, according to chat.
I would like to give everyone a good hint. Save before you do like any narrow walks or anything. Reloading is sometimes much faster than walking back.
Yep. Meanwhile, Phoebe hands Shadow a tin can. So he now has a piece of armor in every slot. The game info screen has been opened. I missed the resistances. He immediately scrolled over to quests. And I missed what the resistances were shuffled to. The key one is fire. Whatever fire has been rolled into, as long as it's not something that Dark King will resist, we should be in good hands. Oh, man. Treasure room, basement, not loaded at all.
You know,
but we have found Wyvern Door.
You know what I want to see? Dark King weak to Quake.
Weak to... well, he'll never be weak to anything. But
okay,
he will... Neutral to meteors would be cool. And there's a nice little feature to show off there. I'm glad Shadow showed that off. So instead of having to swap Phoebe out of his party, all he had to do was take her to the Windy Inn, and now he has the best partner in the game. Still no Thunder Rock for Shadow, but we both know that that is in Final Fantasy 1. Trying to remember where T-Rock was found. Scrolling through our notes here. Volcano 10, so Mount Gulg. I don't... Wait. Darkmoon's been to the volcano, correct?
Yes, he has the crystal.
Maybe just didn't make that one check.
Yeah, I think that's the one that's far out of the way in that maze corridor.
Well, so far, nothing super detrimental. Again, with Shortcut turned on, all Shadow really needs to find is the Sky Coin. Hinting for that, he'll be in go mode, essentially. And obviously, having life and the other spells would be huge. But at level 17, Dark King is defeatable, especially as long as you have the right loadout for equipment and spells. However, our Final Fantasy 1 runners are probably not in go mode yet, and as chat pointed out, Skycoin could be on ship, whatever that's been shuffled into. Shadow now back at Hydra Door. Let's see where that takes us. We have Doom Castle dogs here. These things scare me. They're normally weak to fire, though, but doesn't look like they're rocking a lot of HP, and they're rolling less than 420, it looks like. Yeah, easy stuff. That's a lot of XP for not a lot of work there. Ah. Hydra Door led to Ghidra check.
You know, I need to correct myself when I'm saying defeating Ghidra is not worth it.
Yep, Ghidra Door could lead to something big. They have yet to find level forest. So let's see what we haven't seen on the Mystic Quest side. We haven't seen level forest. We haven't seen a couple of Pazuzu's floors. Did Shadow? No, Shadow did not fight Ghidra.
No,
or
you
else
did
that
not.
mouth would be open. Did Flipheel defeat Ghidra, or did he dip out of the fight? I can't remember. I think he dipped because there's still enemies in Alive Forest.
The tree.
He finds his... Yeah,
the Gemini.
Enemies in tree. Yeah, Gemini Crest is huge.
And right now, we got one person climbing a tower, and we get the other one burying themselves underground in Final Fantasy. That'd be going up to the Sky Fortress and going through Earth Cavern.
Ooh, Venus Key. There could be a goodie hiding in North Focus Tower. And it looks like Shadow is dropping a hint for Sword. Let's see which one it rolled. Looks like we're seeing Dark Moon's speed, or the sword hint just isn't working. Usually if you hint sword, it'll give you one of the three options.
Oh, it's going, do you mean sword?
Might. Oh, the Apollo helmet has been found. Earth Cave 19. So Fliphill really is just missing that Aegis shield, and we know exactly where it is.
That's the fourth Earth Cave, I believe, then.
Meanwhile, Shadow's still trying to get that hint for sword to work. I think they might need to specify Steel Sword, Excalibur, or Night Sword for their hint to get it to work.
I believe we need to have the steel.
Yeah. I thought the way it was supposed to work is if you hint a generic item, so let's say sword in this case, it'll give you one of the three.
Maybe that's only when progressive items are on?
Potentially. We'll find out. But yeah, Shadow going back in the forest. We'll see if that's finding.
No, that's 4 sword checks.
And it looks like Ike here is in go mode. Still have not seen Fliphill drop a hint for the Sky Coin, though. So until they find out where that is, I don't think it's safe for Ike here to sprint to the Chaos fight quite yet.
Though, it might be a good idea to check out Chaos Line, see what's in it.
Potentially.
There's like 6 checks.
Yeah, but I would say if you have the hints, though, better to be safe than sorry. Save you a lot of travel time. Just typing in a hint command.
I think at this point, I'll just be so like in-depth into the way host, forget that it exists, and I'll just go for stuff. That's another thing, going from actually racing to commentating, the one thing I actually like, recommend people communicate with your teammate, like remind them like they can hint stuff every now and then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially if you're not familiar with AP, hints are your friend. Now, the way hints work is typically they are set behind a point gate that's determined by the seed settings of the archipelago seed. All Shadow has to do is fall down here. All they have to do is fall down, and they will find a sword. Oh,
we got Excalibur on Flipio's side.
yep, and I think that was that was locked behind a sword check location. Unfortunately, so we had a sword locking a sword.
Do we have any other place that's locked behind a sword?
Giant tree mouths. There's a couple.
So it might be possible both swords are trapped behind a sword check.
Logically, as long as you can get to one sword,
Yep.
the other two can be locked behind it. The rando giveth, the rando taketh away sometimes in that regard.
I had that happen a few times in Ocarina of Time with bombs.
Yep. B2 of Max Ship. If anybody's interested in running Mystic Quest, I highly recommend you get familiar with Max Ship. You might not need to visit it a lot. It is a trolley location, though, and if you're doing any type of shuffling with locations, knowing what chests are where are going to be super helpful in helping you find things. I know that sounds like a no-brainer, but sometimes you forget where things are, and in this case, it cost Shadow quite a bit of time having that sword gate him out of some good checks here.
And don't forget, when you're on the top of the boat, go to the belly front of it, and make sure you check the chest there. That one's normally forgotten as well.
Yep, there is a chest on the bow of the ship. Never forget. I've had a couple races hinge on that check.
I was so amazed by that one when I was making the tracker for it. I'm like, oh, that one is there.
Hey, we found level forests. Hidden deep within the bowels of Max Ship. And there's about 5 or 6 checks here. And there's our Sky Coin. Flipio is in go mode. Both of our runners on the left-hand side are in go mode. So I don't know if Flip Heels realized that yet. He really just needs to he could just kill everything, exit to Foresta, and go to the shortcut and be in go mode on his way to Dark King. Meanwhile, Shadow heading back to this giant tree section where he can now sword open this door and see what he's got. I don't know what Flipio could be fishing for at this point. Maybe Aegis Shield. He's going to get reflected some damage back at Phoebe there. A little nasty. But, ooh.
Didn't die.
Respect the oozes. Yep.
Now that I said it, commentator's curse.
Yep, you gotta respect the oozes, chat. Those little black slimes will do you in dirty if you do not remember that they will reflect damage.
Alright, we'll just walk it off.
Mm-hmm. And there's the captain's cap. Everybody put on your fancy hat. It is useless in this seat.
Do I have a hat nearby? I do not.
I don't think Flip Heels realized he's in go mode yet, unless he's looking for something key here. But if I'm not mistaken, he's got Meteor, he's got Flare, he's got Life, Exit, everything to get through the boss rush, and to be comfortable at King. Minus Aegis Shield, but that's just petrification immunity, and I don't know if that would be enough for me to keep exploring, especially if I knew my partner was also in go mode. We'll see how this plays out, though. Shadow's still making their way through their old check locations. Let's see what they can open up with the sword. Hopefully they also find their Sky Coin and get into go mode quickly as well.
Do you think Flipio forgot that he has I think he just remembered he has Doomcaster shortcut.
Potentially, I think he might have forgotten that exit on the overworld will take him straight to Foresta. So taking the long way back instead
Oh,
of
just doing-
warping back, doing some shopping fights. Interesting.
Maybe
trying to get level 20. Yeah, that or level 20. Ooh, bomb resistances have been shuffled. These oozes are going to be nasty.
And they get petrified.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
I rolled a bit of a mean one here. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, you didn't roll it. You only
Correct.
picked the saves. So
That is true.
you only have to blame. So adding in the elemental resist changes, that was extra mean.
Look, there just had to be a little bit of extra spice, okay? We're rolling like an Indian 3 out of 5 here. It's something a little more spicy. There we go. There's the overworld warp. Looks like Flip Hill wanted to be comfortable at level 20 before going into the final dungeon here. Meanwhile, Ikir taking on Tiamat again at Temple of the Fiends.
And we got IQ talking to Chaos. He's going, I'm Batman. I'm here.
Shadow making their way through P Tower where they were locked out of before.
I'm
Flip Hill
confused.
making...
That's not Chaos.
No, that's a bunch of snacks. That is a pasta bowl full of danger noodles. That is
Only
now a nuked bowl of danger noodles. Yeah, some of those snakes are rather beefy.
Two of them are Kaimet clones, but they're snakes. So they could be a wyvern hybrid snake.
Oh, that sounds extra mean. Oh, meanwhile, Shadow...
Ooh, they got nuclear.
Yeah, and Shadow has found the rod for Dark. It's like Dark Moon's only missing their Earth Crystal for Go Mode.
Oh, this is not looking good for IQ at the moment.
Meanwhile,
Oh, the
Flip
team
Hill...
up. Oh, ouch.
Yeah, Flip Hill,
Okay.
meanwhile, not hitting any major resistances with Wyvern here.
So I just learned something from chat. The two snakes in that fight in the snake pit will actually team up 1 and 2.
Ooh. Double Tiamat does not sound fun, but Ikir does wrap it up, taking them out. And I believe that is time for Ikir. GG's. Meanwhile, it looks like we lost the connection with Shadow. Hopefully everything's good on their end. Might need to ask someone to check in on them. But Flip Hill making their way through Wyvern. Meanwhile, Dark Moon looks like he's got a plan to go find his Earth Crystal. This is a fat wyvern. I looked over and I saw he was still fighting him, and I was like, good lord, how much HP did this thing roll? Looking at the notes here, our bosses can roll anywhere between... looks like 50 to 125% HP. So taking on the Jerkbird. Meanwhile, we've regained Shadow's feed. It looks like it dropped there for a second, but we are back. And they are in Giant Tree looking for that Sky Coin. As soon as they find Level Forest, Shadow will be in go mode. But time is running out. Flipheel only has to get through a Jerkbird who doesn't look like he's doing too much damage. And then a wild card of a Dark King. Ooh, yeah, no, that was a skinny chicken. Time is running out.
Wait, that is Miss Zoo? Like I blinked. And
Yeah.
it was done.
Yeah, it was like a 2-turn zoo. Like I said, blink and you miss it. He was gone.
Like I'm here seeing an IQ Clear Final Fantasy in under 10,000 steps. Like I was saying before the race, I love the stats.
I'm wondering what's going on with Flipheel here. Was at the end, but then doubled back for a fight. I don't know if they just wanted one more level before going in, or yeah, they leveled up to level 21. So I guess they just wanted a comfort level before taking on Dark King. Might have had some nasty encounters in practice, and that's why they're being extra cautious tonight.
Now I hope they have the feature that switches to a king. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, let's see if random Dark King has been turned on tonight. I'm interested to see what the quote unquote true form is.
Because I haven't seen them all yet, so.
Yeah, shout out to our awesome spriting community who has not only come up with great sprites to swap Ben out for, but has also found some creative talent to swap out the true form of Dark King. So phase 3 and 4 here. Starting the fight off. Let's see what Dark King is swinging.
Ooh, he's resisting fire.
Yeah, that's going to put Meteor on the table as the go-to spell, or White for Flipeel. White has no element in Mystic Quest, so it is the safer bet and the faster bet by about a second and a half. But Meteor could pack more of a punch. It looks like we're going with White here, just to err on the side of caution. And Dark King is swinging pretty hard. Couple dud moves mixed up in there at this point. Lullaby is really not going to put anybody to sleep. Both of our party members are immune to sleep. Let's see what the true form is.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
For a second, I thought that was Mettaton. It's Tetron. So chat, if you could inform me as to where Tetron is from. I am a bit uncultured when it comes to some of these really, really well done sprites submitted by our community here.
Isn't that Undertale?
I don't believe so. He might be Hero Core. That's what it is. Thank you, chat. Ooh, gold webs are on the table. This is now an unsafe fight.
Oh, I was gonna Mettaton.
Yep. Meanwhile, it looks like Darkmoon has completed his Earth Crystal. Does that put him in go mode? Let me check in with our trackers. 10, does that put him in go mode? Meanwhile, that is time for Flipeel. GG's to Team Flipeel and Ike here. They take it tonight with a final time of 121.49. GG's. And it does look like Darkmoon is indeed in go mode. Looking for Shadow Sky Coin at this point and waiting to see the hint drop.
Dark Moon is now doing his refights with the 4 fiends.
Meanwhile, Shadow desperately hunting for that sky coin. That's the only thing gating them from go mode at this point. Once they find level forest, we'll know that Shadow is this close to completing their seed.
I'm trying to remember where Sky Coin is all of a sudden. Was that in like level forest?
Yes, level forest, bottom left chest, and it looks like we have Ike here in the waiting room for us, potentially going to pop in for an interview here. See if we can get them in the room. And we are joined by Ike here and Flip Heel. GG's, gentlemen.
Thank you. Jeez, Fliphill.
Thanks. GG's.
GG to both of you.
How did you guys feel about those settings?
It shocked me about the 2 teammates at the end. I forgot about that.
Yeah, all we saw on our side was snakes, and I was like, huh, 2 of those snakes are kind of beefy, and we find out it's like those ain't snakes.
No, and they could have been nastier if they had done like their big moves at the same time. So they attacked a lot.
Fair enough. Flip Hill, GG's on the Mystic Quest side of the house. How did you feel about the dungeon / resistant shuffle double combo there?
I felt all right for the most part. I was definitely sweating it just because we did like 1 practice seed and like I was like, okay, we just need to find the sky coin, but when it doesn't give you a hint as to where it is, but on a floor, and I'm just like, all right, I just need to basically full clear the seed or to find the floor it's on. It's just it warped my brain a little bit. I was worried.
Yeah, dungeon shuffle will do that. There's a reason I propose dungeon shuffle and not everything shuffle, because that's true of mind warp, and at that point your hints are kind of a moot point. So I wanted there to at least be a reason. It's like, all right, look, it's here. You just need to find this floor, this location. And it definitely made things visually interesting. Finding that sword on Mac's ship definitely gave you the boost you needed over Shadow. There was a couple things that held Shadow and Moon back. One of them was not finding the canoe as early as y'all
Yep.
did.
Yeah, we talked about that. We figured the canoe. We just got the canoe at the perfect time. I just finished everything and I'd hinted it, and Flip was like, "Oh, I found where your canoe is." I'm like, cool. I'm just gonna wait at the canoe spot. I think I got there and waited like 2 seconds, and he gave it to me. So I was almost never in BK mode.
Yeah, poor Dark Moon was BK'd for about 20 minutes on the Peninsula of Power.
Oh, ouch.
But I mean, he's made good time catching up after Shadow found it. He accidentally faded it the first time going through his ice pyramid exploration. Didn't realize that he could go down the bottom left and get that 1 chest for canoe. And then the sword, another huge discovery, knowing to go down the bottom of Mac's ship in B2 and checking those chests. You found sword and meteor. Did you kind of breathe a sigh of release? It's like, finally, I got a sword.
Yeah, a little bit. I didn't know if I should hint for a sword because there were 3 of them, and then it was pretty funny because I hinted for the dragon claw, and it was literally gonna be within a minute. Like that was so silly, right? It was on the 7th floor of Pazuzu's tower, like, and you could walk from the bottom to the top. When I got that hint, and it was like, really, it's in this dungeon. I threw 2 bombs at it.
Oh man, that feels bad. Burning a hint like that always feels a little bad.
Yeah, I told him to hint for like the life book, and then I found it in like the next minute for him, anyways.
Oh man, did you hint for Skycoin at all, Flip Heel?
Yeah, I hinted for it like 3 times. hoping that it would like tell me where it was, because some of the hints actually tell you, like if you have access to the zone or you found it, it'd be like it's on this floor in Volcano. So I'm like, okay, cool, I'll go to Volcano. But then, yeah, the level forest, it just didn't say anything. So I was like, is it because it's in an area I can't get to yet? So that's kind of why I was like pushing towards max ship later. And I think I went at the right time too, because I found that into the wintry cave floor, and then it was like, all right, well, now it's a no-brainer. Let me level up Phoebe and get Iker's item, because he hinted at something that was in the ice pyramid.
Yeah, and you and Shadow found first floor wintry cave at the exact same time, darn near. The difference was that Iker was in the perfect spot to send you over exit. And so you had exit to just warp out of there and dip and go grab Phoebe, versus Shadow, who had to make the walk manually to go back and find her. So you made up a huge amount of time there.
We did it intentionally too, because I was going into Sea Shrine, and Flipio said, "Well, I'm about to get your item, your key." And I'm like, "Oh wait, we know your exit book is behind my key in Dwarf Cave. I'm just going to go there and wait for you to give me the key and get your exit, and I can come back." Because I know exit's a big deal in movements or saving time in Mystic Quest.
Yeah, no, and that's a really great point that me and X10 were talking about earlier is, communication in these co-op seeds are key. If you guys can coordinate effectively and optimize your pickups, that'll bring you the W when it comes to winning these seeds. Anything you would change for next month's seed?
I still want to see alternate fiends sometime. We had the alternate end boss, but we didn't have the alternate fiends.
What about you,
And
Flipio?
I don't know on my side. We only got to do 1 or 2 practices on this. We were gonna try to do a second one, but my teammate bailed on me for another game. No, I just wanted to throw some shade, but yeah, this was hectic, but it was fun. It's just, yeah, the worst part was like I like to take a lot of notes on the side. So like when I got to some dungeons, like whichever one had the lava dome map plus the other things, I was just like, oh my god.
I lovingly refer to first floor of Lava Dome as the Nexus. You have about 10 doors to choose from. Half of them you can get to. The other ones are sometimes connected to each other, and then other floors can just be mixed into that. So it's not a fun time. I'm trying to remember where level 4 is. Oh, nope. There we go. Shadow found it. Sorry, I didn't cut you off.
That one's just not too bad. I have a map of like the base map of, I literally just have like a paint thing and I just draw lines.
Yeah, we were talking about our method for taking notes. X10, a little old school. What did you say your method was?
I use spiderwebs on a piece of paper. So I got draw a circle. That's my nexus. I write down like Lava Dome, and I go like I have it on different pages. Like I'll go like page 5 for this one. So like I get that old school walkthrough guide.
Yeah, and then other than that, I have a notepad that I just type things in. But when you're trying to go fast in a race, I'm like, when you have the pressure of trying to actually go fast, yeah, it just makes it a little more annoying. But it's fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. You think you'd run these settings again, or anything that you'd want to change up? I noticed that you didn't open up the resistance table too much. Not too much of an issue for you?
I saw it once, but it's like a lot of information that I don't know if it helps too much, really.
I think the big takeaways for these kinds of settings is finding out what fire has been shuffled into, so you can make sure that you could counter Dark King appropriately. And then other than that, it's just, what you could capitalize for boss fights. So like, what has wind been turned into so I could do extra damage to jerk birds, things like that. Oh, good question for our trackers here. Did Iker find the ribbon?
Flipio did for him.
I don't think so. I only have one ribbon at the end, and it was on the white mage. So, no.
Hopefully that answers your question, chat. Where is Dark Moon? I am trying to figure out where he is. I am not super familiar with FF1 Randomizer, unfortunately. I talked to
right
you.
now-
I talked to.
He's
Go ahead.
rolling off Agamites in Ice Cavern.
Is he just under leveled for the final
Oh, is
fight?
he
You
grinding?
think? Or-
I think he put all of his levels into Ninja, and he can survive the gauntlet of 2 Tiamats and 7 apps.
That's possible. Yeah. If it were just chaos, he could probably do it. But yeah, 2 Tiamats with the Tiamat that we had today. Tiamat 2. Ugh.
Yeah, so I didn't get to see a lot of the Tiamat fight. What were the big hurdles with the double Tiamat? If you could explain to the chat there. Thank you.
I think he had a nuclear, which didn't do much.
He did have nuclear.
Thankfully. There was a fire 3, I want to say. I didn't see much of it either because he mostly attacked me. I was more worried about the actual Tia 2 fight than the Chaos one.
So just a lot of damage going out.
A lot of AoE damage. I had some heal 3s on the White Mage. I'm not sure if he stayed with the White Mage to help through that. I wish I had kept my other one and replaced the fighter with the White Mage, actually. The fighter was mostly just a white shirt user at that point.
Ooh,
But yeah,
Shadow was
if-
hinted for life, and they found out that it's in Sea Shrine.
Oh.
Yeah, I
That-
think to go fast, Dark Moon gambled on a couple fades, and it's come back to bite Shadow in particular because he's faded some key checks for Shadow here.
I
I
just
think they're
feel-
even.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I think they're even now. He
True.
had to wait 20 minutes for the canoe.
Fair.
I knew Flippy was still missing life, so that's why I was still checking things going through Sea Shrine, and then even going through Earth, in case there was something he still needed. I think he was still looking for location at that point.
Yeah, I can't tell what's killing Phoebe at this point, if it's a crit or if it's a move, but whatever it is, it's doing heck of damage and just KOing the poor girl.
I think it was a crit. For like
Yeah, I'm seeing
something insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he doubled that. Yeah.
Wyvern was extra beefy from what I saw. He was just extra thick. I don't know what was happening there.
Personally, I always put Phoebe on auto for this fight.
Fair. That's a strat to go into it. Sometimes if it gets really bad, I'll play Madam President strats and just have Ben body block while she does damages.
Sometimes I'll just have him block so he can heal.
Yeah, I guess that was one of the only benefits for me since I had life, and I think both my characters were faster than Wyvern. So like, if he killed one, I could heal the other one with life, and then have to rely on Cure like Shadow has to.
Yeah, and it's like Wyvern, out of the 4 bosses, Wyvern really is the only one that you really need to start respecting before you get to Za, because I mean Golem and Rex can have something silly up their sleeve, but they really aren't dangerous as long as you have someone to life Rex and someone to exit Golem. But Wyvern doesn't have any major weaknesses besides wind, and other than that, he's a sponge who can deal out some pretty nasty damage with these settings. So I care what
Thankfully, he was the only
level.
hard one.
Yeah, Za went down in like 2 turns. From what we saw, we blinked and he was gone. Ikir, what level do you think Moon is grinding for here for the rest of his party?
I'm not really watching him, so I'm not sure, but probably level 22, 23.
He's at
just hit
37.
Yeah, he hit 37 on his ninja.
On his ninja, both casters. I think I was only level like 23 when I finished.
They're all dead. So I don't know what Dark Moon's
If
grinding
he's
for. I don't know
going
if he's missing something.
ninja, if he's got the katana +4, there's probably like a break point around maybe 41,
Right.
42 that would give another hit. Might be what he's going
Yeah, 'cause-
for.
Okay, because I think ostensibly he's in go mode. I can't see anything else in the tracker that would be blocking him.
No, he got to
So-
he got to the fight and he was having trouble with it.
Gotcha.
They basically were already done. It's just sort of saying, well, let's just grind all the way and then go.
That's fair. You
I've done
know,
that before.
make it a solid fight. He just hit 40 on his ninja.
Well, look, Agamotto is one of the highest looting experience fights in the whole game.
Never did find the eye, so that would have been easier.
Yeah, I mean confirmation from chat. He's trying to buff his the magic defense of his ninja, so he can survive some of those nukes in AOE.
Oh, that could also be it. Yeah, I think it started off with +10 magic defense, which was nice.
All right, I'm actually going to count the casts for how many times it takes to kill Jerkbird here. There's a 2,000 from a flare.
He didn't even do one psych shield, so it can't be much.
Yeah, there's a 2177. He's got really low magic defense.
Look, free cast.
Yeah, that's like 3 casts. He's gone. Good lord. Yeah, he is a skinny chicken. Oh, yep, and Dark Moon's leaving at level 44 on his ninja. So I think he's finally grinded up and feeling comfortable to go take on the Danger Noodle Bowl.
Okay, let's see the new Dark King.
Yep.
Hook to them.
So what has been y'all's favorite, Flip Hill, what's been your favorite true form of Dark King so far? You've run a couple of these now. Anything that you've gotten an especially good laugh out of?
I guess the first one was pretty cool because it reminded me of someone's Discord sprite. Forget the name. I think it was like, yeah, Edia, something with an E.
Ah,
But like this one, I don't even know what's Triton. Triton I got right. What's that from?
Yeah, he's from a game. Go ahead.
It's called Hero Core. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I've never played Hero Core myself. Chat seemed extra excited about it though. So, if you could put a true form in here, what sprite would you pick?
I guess since I'm my main game is A Link to the Past. I guess let's get Ganon in here. I would say Ganon.
I think there is a Ganon in the pool. I can't remember. Someone has had to submit a Ganon. We've got like 3 links in the sprite pool for Ben. Wild Ham firing back is like, if you don't want my obscure game references, people need to submit more sprites for Dark King. Fair enough. Fair and balanced.
So to be fair, I'm gonna check out Hero Core. The Metroidvania style suitor.
So I don't think you hit any slow points in your run. Did you hit anything especially difficult or anything challenging during your seed?
No, my seed was pretty much a breeze, except for the few seconds I was waiting for that canoe. I had the levels to do pretty much everything. I do Tiamat over Kraken because Kraken tends to hit harder and I want to get one shot. I only swapped out the white mage and then bought all the spells on the way to or when I was in was that Lefane, because I like the Lefane Superstore. Yeah, we had gold bracelets early. Like Flipfield sent me 2 45,000s in a row. I'm like, oh, I gotta go back in and buying all the gold bracelets. So
yeah,
that wasn't a problem.
That 75k send from the Doom Castle floor was huge really early on. And that's time for Shadow, clocking in a 141, looks like 20-something-ish. Dark Moon is our last runner here tonight, already on his Tiamat fight, about to take on the Danger Noodles.
But couldn't be infused with Tiamat.
The only thing that really slowed me down this seed was I tried taking that black belt, the legendary swords early, just in case, and then all the white magic was awesome, so I had to swap it back out for white mage.
Yeah, no, I mean, and realistically, they only cost you like 15 seconds to like reset and just pick a new party and go.
Yeah, it's like a minute time loss for me. I'm not that fast with the menus, but I saw that I'm like, oh, I gotta take the white mage. I want to take the black belt because early black belt, if you get like an early katana or early Vorpal, just something he can just own the beginning of the seed. And I
Yeah,
replace
for
him
sure.
later with a Met Caster when I don't need him anymore. Because the replacement is really nice in this one. So you keep the same levels and everything. You just have to rebuy the spells and re-equip gear.
Nice.
Okay, good luck, Dark Moon.
Yeah, the danger noodles have been engaged. Fingers crossed.
Oh, I've never seen this before. You have to fight like a bunch of small bosses, then the final one.
Two
No,
of those
it's
are
the
actually
boss.
Tiamat.
Okay.
Yeah,
Shit.
we were confused
Ooh,
too because we
ouch.
looked at the screen. It's like he's just got snakes, and then all of a sudden, two of them started hitting really hard. And it's like those are not ordinary snakes.
I wonder if Dark. Oh, that was the white mage that died. Ooh, ouch.
You think he might be able to recover? Or is this kind of a reset for him?
No, I think he's got a beefy enough ninja that the ninja should be able to finish it off.
As long as the ninja doesn't get one shot, we'll still be fine.
He's throwing the defense sword up, so hopefully he's probably got the ribbon on. So yeah, he's not going to get hit except for like the big spells. I
And
think
you
he's
get
pretty
tempo
solid.
up. Now, do you know which
Here.
one is team at 1 and which one is 2?
Oh, they're both dead now, so that's GG for
Yep,
Dark Moon.
GG Dark
Okay, they're both 2 months 0 then.
Moon. Yeah.
And let's see your GGs in chat, and it looks like we have Dark Moon in the waiting room. Let's go ahead and get him in here.
Oh, Darper probably missed the white shirt then too if he was skipping chests.
Here we go. We've got Shadow and Dark Moon in the waiting room, just bringing them in here.
Hey,
Hey, we are joined by Shadow and Dark Moon. GGs, gentlemen.
hey, thank you.
GG.
How'd you guys like the seed?
no.
Oh, that was atrocious in the beginning. I didn't know where to go. I
Yeah.
had so much open to me. It literally was like, hey, by the way, here's all 3 coins in the first like 20 minutes of the game.
So I don't know what the other team did, but there was a 50-50. Do I want to hunt for Canal or Canoe to try and open up the world? And I have Winter Tournament from Final Fantasy still in my head, and Canoe's always late, so I hinted Canal, and it was in my own game where I couldn't get to it, and then I couldn't hint anything else.
Oh no, yeah, I hit the canoe.
Yeah,
So
I
that really
had
helped.
you did, because 50-50, you know? Had I done that, he would have known where to go, but I sat around for 40 minutes just being like, I can't do anything.
You got pretty swole pretty quick though, at least.
killing frost wolves on the Peninsula of Power to level 24. It was great.
Yeah, because we
Dark
checked
Moon?
in, we saw you level up, and you were like, you hit 19, and I looked over at Ikir, and it's like, Ikir's level 8.
No, he was 9. He was 9.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No, Dark Moon, you have my sympathy. I know exactly how it feels.
Oh yeah, no, that was a terrible DK. If there had been even one more check in my game, AP wise, I would have been able to hint for both of them, and it wouldn't have even been a problem. But I didn't even realize I was only going to be able to hint for one. I might have rethought my position.
Oof.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Yep.
Shadow, how'd you feel about Resistance and Dungeon Shuffle?
So Dungeon Shuffle I am familiar with, but it's been a while since I've played one. So it got to me a few times because I totally missed 2 checks, which ended up being what he needed. I had to go back for them. But to be honest, the resistance and weakness thing really didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, it looks like it played pretty nice for you guys tonight. Sometimes it could be pretty mean, especially with Dark King. You'll get something crazy shuffled in, and it's like what your key offensive tool is now they're resistant to, and you have to kind of work on the fly. But
Well, okay, so to be honest, I totally forgot it was on. Like, I knew it was on, but I forgot it was on until I hit Dark King with Flare, and it went, it's strong against it, and I was like, wait a second.
that's
I was like,
right.
this isn't right. But luckily I had Meteor, so it was not bad.
Yeah, and thankfully he didn't roll like water onto Earth, and then you'd have both of your powerful spells resisted against. It's like, well, which one's dealing more damage at this point?
Oh, I
So
know.
again, kind of playing nice there, and yeah, I'm glad I turned on Dark Doom Castle shortcut, because that would have been really annoying for you guys to have to find Cap, find grenades, find Claw, like find Mobius Crest, find everything after getting the Sky Coin.
But they did.
I only would have needed Captain's Cat with what I had, as I had everything else. It gave
Yeah.
Mobius Crest like early, and then I
think I
found Mega
found
Grenade
that.
early.
I think it was on the same screen as the River Coin or the Sky Coin.
Oh, I got Sky Coin and I just yeeted out because that's all I needed. I was like, bye.
Yeah, it was in Local Forest. It was the northeast chest, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So really, that really wouldn't have been that bad. But yeah, I know. As soon as I got that Sky Coin, I was like, I'm out. See ya, peace.
So we
It
talked
wouldn't have been
strategy.
too bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We talked strategy with Ikir and Flip Heel. Dark Moon, Shadow, want to kind of get y'all's game plan going into this, because I know, like Dark, you were lamenting that you didn't hint for Canoe, but after that, what was kind of the game plan when it came to using your hints and getting your checks in for each other?
Well, by that point, I had Oxyale and Chime. I needed Q, Broad, and Key. I hinted Key right before he sent it to me, so that was a wasted hint, which I hadn't, but oh well. And then I hinted Rod, and then I had to get a few more checks to get Cube. So I did Cube checks, or checks to get Cube, like going around and doing the various locked areas so I could get that taken care of. Hinted for that so I knew where it was so I could try and rush to the end game as soon as I could. Skipped all of Mirage because I thought I was good, and then Shadow said he needed a sword to get somewhere, so I was like, okay, I'll check the top of Sky, see if I can find a sword. Then he found a sword by the end of it, so I could go back to not checking anything. And so it was basically ignore everything except greed chests and try and get to Temple of Fiends as fast as possible. And had it been a boss, any other boss than Tiamat for the end boss, I probably could have gotten through on the first try once I got to it. But both Tiamats had way too many spells, and I didn't have a ribbon, so I needed levels. And when I finally got to it and saw that, I'm like, I'm just gonna go grind until you're at the end game. You let me know.
Yeah, we saw that. It was like, man, he must, because we checked on your level at one of your level ups, and you were like 30 something. It's like, oh, good lord, he's way higher. But then you mentioned you didn't have the ribbon. It's like that kind of explains everything.
Yeah, no magic defense, not enough health. Beast's health growth isn't as good as the fighter. Like, it's one of those things where, in retrospect, if I'd known it was going to be a bad Tiamat as the final boss, I would have 4-manned it with the fighter instead of 3-manning it. But you take a gamble, and this one was all gambles.
Yeah, and it looks like
Yeah.
at the end of it, we had about a 30-minute spread between Ikir finishing and then you finishing out. Not the end of the world for an APC, genuinely.
It's kind of BK.
Yeah, the BK happened, and worse things could happen. You all came in sub 2 hour, which I think at the end of the day is something we all kind of hope for. You start to feel bad when you get near that that threshold. Anything you guys would change for next month's seed?
I mean, more than likely you're not going to BK on this. If it's one of those things where it's like, if Free Canoe or Free Canal had been on, then I would have had at least a few more checks. And between the two, if you don't want to open up the entire world, I'd probably go with Free Canal. Just so that, once we're done with the Inner Sea, at least the top of Earth is available or something like that. Just so that, there's just enough checks that you can hint twice. And then if you're blocked on something, your partner knows where to go, especially in something like this where all of his floors were mixed. Like, I think just having a couple of extra checks would have really helped us. Would have at least let him pinpoint a little better when he saw a floor what to do.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Otherwise, this felt balanced to me. I mean, I didn't really... Once I got going, I was able to motor pretty quick. Went from 40 minutes to not being able to do anything to, at the 40-minute mark, to, hour 10, I was walking in a Topher ready to go. So, wasn't bad. Fast and light otherwise. So.
How about you, Shadow?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think it was just it. And again, this is just AP for you. Is just getting all 3 of my coins almost immediately made it very difficult to try to decide on where to go. But that's that's gonna happen sometimes. So, but
Yeah.
otherwise, I genuinely like Dungeon Shuffle. That's basically after I played a few seeds like initially to get into this. I played exclusively Overworld and Dungeon Shuffle for a while, so I'm fairly familiar with it. I like it because it just changes up the game significantly. So you're not, it's just then me using my brain and not rushing. And I missed my sword in Mac's ship. I had to go back. Luckily, I remembered which place it was in, so I could go back and get it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we saw you guys. We saw you fade that the first time. It's like, no, you were so close. But that's us looking in on the booth, and we saw Flip Heel pick it up. So you couldn't have known. And a question I didn't get to ask everybody: how did everybody? And we'll start with you, Ike here. How did everybody feel about the no release setting this month? This is the first time we've run it.
I liked it for this mode because once you do your in go mode, then you just go and you don't have to worry about. You both people had to be in go mode, and I think having the release, especially on the emulator side, Final Fantasy 1, it extremely slows it down when your partner finishes for like a minute. We're just hanging there. Yeah, I like them better when you both have to be in go mode to go instead of just one person's in go, they just finish and dump all their items in the other player to be in go mode. So
Fair enough. How
that's
about
my
you,
opinion.
Flip Heel?
Yeah, that's my sentiments exactly. It's more fun when you're both in go than completing the seed. I don't know. The options are interesting when you one person can rush, but I like both people ensuring they're in go mode and just finishing it kind of myself.
Fair. Dark, how do you feel about it?
I didn't mind it. I mean, my seed was about as linear as Final Fantasy Randomizer can be, just due to the way it was. So, I mean, I guess if release had been on, about the only thing it would have done was try and push my partner to try and find a way to get to the end game as fast as possible, so that he could have just let go of the items and I would have had my canoe that way. But I don't think you're going to end up very often with a BK like this, where you basically have to coin flip, do I get out of the inner sea? So this was one of the rare instances where a 40-minute wait was just required. So overall, no, I like these flags. I didn't even mind the no release because it meant that I didn't have to really think about what am I going to be dumping on my partner, what am I going to have to do. It was just like, once I have my items, go and just be done.
Fair. And Shadow, same sentiments?
Yeah, no, I think I enjoy the no release option. It just makes you, rather than like I'm in go mode, let me just go finish the game and here's all your items. It's all right, I need to keep playing to go find your items, even if you're using hints, like to then, okay, I know I need to go to this location to go get. It just makes it a little bit better rather than just beelining the end for either player.
Very nice, yeah. And I guess going forward to next month, Dark, Shadow, what would you guys, any requests, anything you want to add, anything you would change up just a little bit? Anything you want to see for next month?
If Mystic Quest is going to be floor shuffled, I'd like to see Final Fantasy Randomizer be floor shuffled as well. Make it even.
Fair.
Also would have given me more to do.
How about you, Shadow?
Yes.
Yeah, no, that would be interesting to do a double, floor shuffle on both.
That could be something we put in the works. But yeah, any final thoughts? We'll give it to the winners tonight. Ike here, Flip Heel, any final thoughts, shout outs before we end for the night?
Yeah, thanks for the restream and the commentary, and I probably can see what the screen looks like. It's cool that you have the actual archipelago stuff on the screen too, so people can see what we're finding for each other. So yeah, great job there. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks everyone. I'm actually gonna dip out here because I gotta get but thank you so much.
Wait, but I had one quick question for you, Shadow.
Yeah.
I was just curious. So, because you said you had all 3 coins, what was your process or thought process? Because mine was, I think with the with the way the enemies and the experience was, I figured I'd go area by area. So maybe that helped me find, like Iker hinted for the canoe, but I was gonna find it pretty soon because I went from area 2 to 3, then 4. So I mean, that's just rush 4.
No, I did the same thing. I went area like Aquaria, then fire, then wind. Like that was exactly what I did. So because I was like, well, I have all of them, might as well just go in order since XP, or damage, the enemies go up in scaling that way. So just made sense.
Fair enough. Dark Moon, any shout outs?
Just, if you like what you saw and you want to see more, come to FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. Also, along with, of course, Final Fantasy Mystic Quests Randomizer. They're great. You should play them both.
Couldn't have said it better myself. X10, anything you'd like to shout out?
Can I do a shout out to chat?
Yeah.
All right, chat.
I always love
this is
shouting
your-
out chat.
This is your shout out. Enjoy it.
Well, thanks again for being my co-host for tonight. It's always great to have someone with the knowledge of the other game, because unfortunately I have not played the FF1 randomizer. I know it's a crime to be a host on the FFR channel and not have played FFR yet, but I'll get there one day. But I'll go ahead and take us out here and say thank you so much to everybody for watching. Again, we're doing this at the end of every month, the last Wednesday of every month. So we'll be back here in April. Let me go ahead and crack open the calendar, see what our date is for April. So we're going to be streaming
24th?
on April 24th, same time, 8 p.m. East Coast time. We hope to see you all again there. And thanks so much for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic night. Take it easy.